Oh my gosh. Where are you at? There you are. Hi, everybody. It is Jared Wade. I'm the communications director for the town of Avon, Indiana. And here with me is our planning director, Bill Peoples. And we are, as you can see, we're both a little tired. That's because last night we had a 4.5 hour long plan commission meeting. We're not going to talk for 4.5 hours for this recap. It's probably going to take a little bit more than 5 minutes, hence why I put that 10-minute tag on there. But Bill is excited. He's got all of his papers ready to go. I'm going to stop talking because there was 8 different things that were on the agenda. There were a few things that were moved.
Yeah, I mean, we had 10 items on the agenda, or 11 items on the agenda, but 5 of them were continued or withdrawn right up front. And so, the Fairwood sections 5 and 6 and the Oriole Estates Plan Unit Development were withdrawn. The Avon Retail Center was continued for 2 months, and Cityscape Avon and the Glen Rock Springs development proposals were continued for a month. So right off the bat, we were able to get rid of about half the cases. Of the 5 that were remaining, the Bubba's 33 plan unit or development plan review petition and the DRG Bradford Road development plan, those were approved. There were waivers of building articulation requirements, but the Planning Commission approved the waivers, approved the development plan review. And then Nichols Minor Plat. That was also a little 3-lot subdivision in the northwest part of the town, and the Plan Commission approved that one as well. That left 2 cases on the agenda for full hearing, and that's where roughly about 2 hours each on those hearings.
Yeah, if you go back
hour
and
and a half, 2
you
hours.
watch the Plan Commission from last night, the first 2 hours was our first item of the night.
Mhm.
And then the remaining hour and a half, hour and some change was the last item of the night. It was kind of bookended. Bill, tell us a little bit about what those were and why they were such a big item.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was the Village Place Townhomes, which is an empty lot that was formerly occupied by a church north of the Costco shopping center, and the petitioner is proposing a rezoning to straight zoning. It's an R4 zoning district with a townhome development. And the Plan Commission did spend a significant amount. There was significant remonstrance, both petitions. It should be noted that this one, Village Place Townhomes and Sycamore Preserve, are all on County Road 900 east. And so one of them, they basically bracket a subdivision, Prairie Trails, I think is what it is. And so there was significant remonstrance to both those petitions, and that remonstrance came from the same spot, right? Or the neighborhoods right around it. The Plan Commission's concern on both of them really were how the traffic situation on 900 is going to be handled by the town. And on the Village Place Townhomes, they did after the 2-hour meeting, after the 2-hour public hearing, continue that for 2 months to give the town the opportunity, and the petitioner the opportunity to conduct a fairly detailed study of the traffic along 900 to come up with solutions. Now, the Redevelopment Commission had already started that process, so we're probably just going to piggyback onto what the Redevelopment Commission has started. We'll incorporate the petitioner into that. And the Plan Commission had an interesting twist on that, in that they wanted the study to go from US 36 to 200 north, which a 2-mile stretch of road is be an interesting study to try to do.
Is it feasible? Like,
It's perfectly feasible. It's going to be expensive. And the hard part about having a traffic study that deals with that stretch of road is what can we actually pull from it? When you're dealing with smaller segments, it's a lot easier to come up with traffic improvements and apportion the cost of the traffic improvements appropriately. But when you're dealing with a long stretch of road, 2-mile stretch of road, all of a sudden you lose a lot of the issues with, okay, what's happening as a result of this development, and how much of this development is causing those problems, because you sort of lose that. It gets lost in the background when you're dealing with such a long stretch of road.
So on the southern part of 900, and if you're not familiar with where 900 is at, that's the road that is just to the east of Costco. That's, a lot of people call that the Costco road. That 900 intersection right there, there's a lot of new businesses that are coming in right there. There's a Raising Cane's that's being built. There's a Chick Salad Chick. There's a lot of businesses that are populating around that general area. When you try to do a traffic study, when things are still in motion, when things are still being built, can that be done, or is it
Oh,
actually?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Harvest Landing commercial subdivision we've got a really good conception of how it's gonna land. So you're gonna have Bubba's 33, you're gonna have Lot 7, which is going to be filled with 3 or 4 restaurants. You have the Costco shopping center, the Costco fuel station, the Costco. The one unknown, of course, is there's a large Lot 2 that we don't really have a good conception of how that's going to fall out. The initial plan had it as a multi-tenant retail center. It's a fairly large lot, and so we don't know. I mean, we really don't know if they're going to ultimately carve that up for more outlots, or whether they are going to develop this as one lot. And it has some say in how we conduct this, but I think we can make halfway decent assumptions and figure out Harvest Landing. That's not going to be a problem. The stretch of 900 is fairly developed, and you really have infill lots, 15 to 10 acre lots up and down 900. We could go with the comprehensive plan recommendation, but the comprehensive plan recommendation, who knows if we're gonna stay with that, especially based upon last night's hearing. So you have to make a lot of assumptions, and then you have to apportion traffic, and then you have to figure out what's the impact of individual small developments on that traffic, and it becomes a challenge.
Sure,
but we'll be able to come up with a study. It's just how we're going to use that study.
Sure. Yeah. How long does that normally take?
Oh boy, you probably do the study in a month.
Okay.
Probably take another 2 or 3 weeks on review, and then the study gets done by professional traffic engineers. We hire a traffic engineering firm to do a review of the study, and they say, yeah, the study makes sense, or no, here are the weaknesses, we need these reevaluated. It goes back to the traffic engineers that prepared the study, and they change it in accordance with what our consultant says needs to be done. And then it gets thrown into the public works department and the town manager to take a look at it, and because it's going to come up with alternatives, right? It's going to come up with, okay, we can do these 2 things at this intersection, we can do these 2 things at this intersection, and so on and so forth. And they've got to look at it from the standpoint of fiscal responsibility. What's the biggest bang for the buck?
Sure.
And then you can make, obviously, that just starts a planning process, because traffic improvements are really, really, really expensive. So it's not something that, we've got a pile of money sitting back in the barn on top of the hill there, and we just sort of shovel it into a wheelbarrow and start paying for road improvements. We've got to program it with the MPO, and we've got to come up with a plan on how we're going to provide matches, or if we're going to pay for it all ourselves, how are we going to do that? Are we going to use TIF money through the redevelopment commission? Are we going to use all of our money that we budget for other sorts of things in it? And those are decisions that Public Works and the town manager decide. So it's a fairly intricate process that's probably not necessarily well understood outside the internal areas of this building.
I'm still learning, and I've been here for a while, and that whole process is still, there's so many moving parts. There's so many things that are happening at the exact same time. Something that I would encourage the public is, if you live in that general area, I guess, Bill, what would be your recommendation if you have community, if you have residents that live close by that area that would like to voice their concerns, their comments, their, hey, it takes me X amount of minutes just to get out of my driveway and onto the road. What's the best course for them to take to make sure that they're being heard?
Well, they can obviously contact us at planning. They can contact the Public Works Department with their concerns. We've heard them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. I'm not trying to, tamp down a response like that, but we've heard most of the complaints.
Sure.
And a lot of times, so in our realm, what we're looking for is scientific data, and not data that is basically used to, win an argument.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone says it takes them 10 minutes to get out of their driveway, we would probably want to see the underlying data associated
Sure.
with that. We probably wouldn't take that at face value.
Sure.
Because it's not been our experience. I'm not saying we're not calling them a liar or anything like that. We're just simply saying 10 minutes seems excessive to get out of the driveway.
So it feels like kind of the best course of action is if you're on 900 or if you're somewhere else in the town, if you're in Avon, the best course of action is to reach out to yourself, to reach out to maybe even Steve Moore, who's our Public Works Director, and say, hey, we've got some issues that are going on right here. How can I get you the data that's going to help you and assist you the most? And then allow Steve to communicate back with the residents and say, hey, thanks for letting us know. Here's what you can do, and here's what's going to benefit you and help us out the most versus, throwing arbitrary numbers out.
And we collect data. I mean, part of the traffic impact study or traffic impact analysis that we do is we throw down tubes on the roads, and we collect objective data. We have objective crash data that we use in these sorts of things. So we have objective data that we use. It's just, sometimes in these public hearings, you get data that probably hasn't been totally scientifically collected.
It's emotional data.
Exactly.
It's emotional data, and that's understandable. What we do want to thank the public for coming out to the meetings. We always encourage anybody to come out to a meeting. The last several meetings for Town Council, BZA, and Plan Commission, there's been a good attendance.
Oh, yeah.
And these are people that are either speaking or sometimes they're just there to listen and learn a bit more about what's going on. It's one thing to watch it through the live stream, and it's something very different to be in the room, sitting with everybody else, feeling the emotions, feeling the atmosphere as everything unfolds. So we still encourage you, come out, join us. When's our next Plan Commission meeting?
It's the 25th of July.
25th of July.
Right.
If you would like to come out, it sounds like there's going to be several things on the agenda that are going to be good conversations.
Yeah, we got a fairly full agenda on that one. And August, the same way. It's going to be some controversial and some interesting cases on both the August and July agendas. And just to piggyback on what you said, the more people that participate into the process, the better the town gets. So, you're really going to leave it to a bureaucrat like me to make the decisions? No, come in here and participate in the town. Are you going to get everything that you always ask for? No, you're not. That's just the way of life. And just because you didn't get everything you asked for doesn't mean that, your input was not valued. But if you don't participate, we don't even get that information in the first place. So the more people that participate in the town government, the better the government and the better the town becomes.
Absolutely. If you want to find out what's on the agenda, you can always go to our website, avongov.org. There's a big old round button that says agendas and minutes. Click on that and you can see all of the different agendas for Town Council, Plan Commission, BZA, RDA, RDC, and everything in between. They're doing a great job keeping those agendas online and up to date, so you can always take a peek and find out what is on the agenda for the 25th. You can actually sign up for notifications, so that way when something gets put onto the agenda, onto a Plan Commission agenda or a BZA or Town Council meeting, we'll actually email you or text you and let you know, hey, there's an agenda that just popped up. You might want to take a quick peek at it. It's all web-based. You don't have to download anything in order to receive these notifications and view everything online. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being a part of our community. And if there's anything that we can do to help, don't forget, you can always reach out to us. Again, through the website, avongov.org is the easiest way to get all of our contact information. And that way we can get back with you as soon as possible. Bill, as always,
My pleasure.
appreciate you, sir. We went a little over 10 minutes, but there's a lot of really great information to share. If you have anything that you need from us, let us know. Other than that, have a good one. Bye.